Lindsey Graham. We're getting a double dose of graham crackers tonight. The graham cracker himself is making the rounds over at Fox News. That's not him. That's Harris Faulkner, who sounds like the security chief on a Star Trek offshoot. Commander Faulkner? Yes. She has him on to talk about how the border crisis, the fentanyl crisis, which, of course, unfortunately for Fox, did not show up in anyone's Halloween bag this year. Not a one. It's blue on your TV and purple on your phone. Well, now we know which one has better color, because this is actually the purple. It's pretty rock solid, at least what I'm seeing on my end. Now, so they've been pushing this for a while, that all this fentanyl that's getting caught coming across the border means that more's getting in. Now, let's see. I'm curious, before we dive into this, let's see. Fentanyl overdose deaths 2022 tracking, something like that. Provisional overdose death stuff. Let's see if there's a 12-month ending percentage of drug overdose deaths. So here's the rise. Now, this is the rise we're starting here. Like, this is fentanyl's basic introduction. So it levels out and then it becomes readily available. So part of this is just this period in time, for the record. But 12 months ending March of 2020, there were 74,679 deaths in the previous 12 months in March of 2020, right at the beginning of lockdown. Then let's go to January 2021, when Biden took over. There were 94,795 in the previous 12 months. Then if you go to March, this is when we hit that, or let's see, April, how long did it take? Yeah, because if you look, it hit right around here, right in April. It steadied for a second, then it went back up to climbing. Oh, it was probably Delta, right there. But then, yeah. And then we get into January 2022. This is the peak, which is there were 108,000, back up, I can't get right on the thing, 108,009 in the previous 12 months. So, going into the last year, by the way, including the February of 2021 when Trump was still president, when the number was actually higher. So you're stacking these up because they stack upon each other in 12 months. This is kind of like year over year inflation numbers. And then interestingly enough, it trends back down, and the predicted value is trending down here, but the actual number is trending down even lower. And I wish I didn't have to put my fucking cursor where it is because I can't read it on there myself. Now, percentage changes, predicted versus reported. Let's see, let's go to reported. So blue areas, the reported overdose deaths are down. Red areas, they're up. And if they're in the dark, they're up like 31.1% is the highest in the largest arc. And that would be South Dakota, which had 97 cases. There were 74 in 2021. There was a percentage change of 31%. Up here in the Northeast, Maine, 644 deaths over 538 previous, 457 to 379. New York, there you go. So New York's a big number, obviously, because it's a big state. 3,000 overdose deaths in the whole state, June to June 2022. June 2020 to 2021, 2,982. So there was a leap of about 40, approximately. Smaller leap, a 1% change well within the, margin. And then Alaska, look at Alaska here. Alaska has a 31% change, but 253 overdoses versus 193. 50 more people, a little over, were, died of overdoses. Alaska, South Dakota, the Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire had these larger percentage cases, but smaller states. You're talking 219 one year to 258. These are human lives we're talking about, but the number of drop-offs, is interesting too. Because here's Michigan. Michigan went down 4%, but they, because they had a large number of people, 2,786 in 2022 versus 2,876, which would be 2020 into June of 2021, right? From June 2020 to June 2021. There was a higher number than there was in the succeeding year. Ohio went down 300 fewer deaths. West Virginia, 200 fewer. Pennsylvania had a large drop-off of negative 4%. So they about 200 people, much more populous state, fewer people there. Florida, only a drop-off of 100, so 0.65%, so a little less than 100. California had a drop-off of 5%. So these are going down. Texas obviously has an issue. It was up 2%, but in a very populous state, you've got, that's interesting. 4,800 people died in Texas, 2021 to 2022. New York, 3,000. California, 10,000 reported deaths. And I would argue, let's see, underreported due to incomplete data. Which one? There's an asterisk. There's an asterisk on some of these states. I don't know which ones. Anyways, New York itself was responsible for about 3,000 of the deaths. And then DC had its own thing. I can't click on the fucking thing. Anyways, so you're looking at a trend started by the introduction of fentanyl into the system at all, a leveling out of it for a period of time as people continued to use heroin, and sometimes it was laced in it, and sometimes it wasn't, so the deaths were kind of averaged out after a while. And then the deaths went up because of the availability of fentanyl, and then, of course, the use of it, because it was harder to get other drugs because you couldn't go out, so you got, and people were maybe even doing themselves in on purpose by ODing, so you got those deaths will go up. There's a lot of factors in there. These are human lives. So each one has a story to tell about how they ended up there, whether they were playing with fire and brand new, had just gotten out of rehab and their system wasn't ready for it, or they thought they were using a different drug and died. You had these spikes where you had, a group of kids that all passed from being involved in fentanyl. So just so you know, it is trending down, which is a good sign. And that corresponds with the amount caught at the border. We'll see if it continues that way.
This at the southern border from Casey's reporting, we'll add this to it. It's taking a different kind of toll. Our men and women who protect our nation's sovereignty are challenged. We know that. So much against them, so much to deal with.
Okay.
Well, now we're learning some of them are really hurting. 3 Border Patrol agents committed suicide in November, that same month that we saw that onslaught of people who just evaded every means to catch them. 14 have committed.
Wait, hold on. First of all, assuming that that's why they committed suicide, unless they put it in their fucking note, is just gross. And tying it to you think they killed themselves because of their own failures? Like, I let a bunch of people get through, or they wouldn't let me stop them.
Committed suicide in total in 2022.
By the way, Greg Abbott's Operation Lone Star. Let me show you something here. He's been doing this thing where he's using National Guard people to guard the border. Some might say illegally, but the purpose is they're kind of forcing them to do it. So these people are being taken away from their family and friends, and it's fucked up some of their businesses. So there's a, let's see, yeah, this is an ongoing thing. Another Texas National Guard soldier on Greg Abbott's border mission dies by apparent suicide. The death is the 5th suspected suicide by a National Guard member since Abbott ordered the massive troop deployment in September of 2021. Yet another member of the Texas National Guard assigned to Greg Abbott's Operation Lone Star border crackdown has died by a suspected suicide. Soldier shot himself with his duty weapon around 8:20 a.m. Tuesday in Eagle Pass, according to an official document obtained by the news organization. The Texas Military Department is withholding their name until his family is notified. Abbott's office also confirmed the soldier's death by a self-inflicted gunshot wound via an email statement. The death is the 5th by a National Guard member since Abbott, a Republican running for a 3rd term, ordered the massive troop deployment in September of last year. A total of at least 10 troops have perished while being on the protracted mission. About Abbott's $4 billion border crackdown is one of the largest Texas Guard deployments in recent memories, at one point involving some 10,000 personnel. Critics have attacked it as a political stunt. In a statement supplied, hearing the news of another guardsman committing suicide while on deployment here in Eagle Pass is heartbreaking. This has been a recurring instance, and the Texas legislature and state legislature need to address it immediately, State Rep Eddie Morales said in a statement. And by the way, I don't know if she's including the National Guard people who they didn't sign up to be Customs and Border Patrol people, who's being yanked away from their families and having their businesses collapse because they're on this kind of semi-permanent deployment.
House Republicans have introduced a bill to provide more mental health resources for the department. They're proposing nearly $140 million over 6 years to tackle the issue.
How long before we find out that the Democrats had put in $200 million and this is actually their dial back? And so she's running this story to make it look like they want this money as opposed to they're trying to cut the 200.
Republican Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina, ranking member of the Budget Committee, also member of the Judiciary and Appropriations Committees,
and wine enthusiast,
is in focus now. Senator, welcome. This situation now is starting to mirror what we know happens when there's pressure on our police departments, when there's pressure on our military.
Oh, you mean like January 6th? She's fucking kidding, right?
Your thoughts?
If you have any. But if you don't have any, just talk.
Well, if you're a Border Patrol agent, you feel abandoned by the Biden administration. I've been to the Border Patrol border many times.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how they go home.
He goes right up to the border. He teases the border.
Home at night and get up.
By the way, I take all these things very seriously, so I refuse to take this asshole seriously about it. Whenever I joke about these things, I'm not joking about this stuff. I'm joking about the fact that this asshole has a say on any of it. As a Carolina senator, what? Why is he on? I'll tell you why. Because they can't talk to Ted Cruz because he's totally unpopular, and none of the other ones won't get on there without bitching about, Abbott.
The next day. They're seeing human trafficking at a level I've never seen. They're
citation needed.
Overwhelmed with illegal immigrants coming in. People on the
record gotaways numbers as border crisis spirals. According to what? Him saying it?
terrorist watch list are going right through. So to be a Border Patrol agent under Biden is one of the most miserable experiences I can imagine.
Why? Their patrols haven't changed. They haven't been told to let people through. They're not being shit on. What the fuck are you talking about? Why? Because this one guy got busted for whipping people with his bridle?
To be in charge of protecting America and the administration you work for will not give you the tools to do your job is...
What tools would those be? Is there not gas in their tank? Is there not bullets in their guns? Do they not have drones and night vision goggles? The fuck are you talking about? Zip ties?
Very bad
Jesus.
for morale. So it's just a matter of time until somebody comes across that border that kills a bunch of Americans because they're terrorists. The number of Americans dying from fentanyl poisoning is at an all-time high.
No, it isn't. It's down from the all-time high.
Biden has surrendered the border.
No, he hasn't. And if you're watching this in another country, don't try to cross the southern border.
And those in charge of protecting us at the border feel completely abandoned, and I hope our House Republicans
You do realize you're showing footage of them picking people up at the border, putting them in trucks, driving around on ATVs, wearing helmets, armed.
will start hearings, and will put on the table impeaching people responsible for this.
Well, I tell you, those
Responsible for what? Catching the fentanyl coming across?
are some heart-shaking words that you just spoke. Biden has surrendered the border.
Yeah. Can you say that again? If you say it 3 times, is it true like Candyman?
And what will we see in next steps in terms of the damage that that can cause?
Right. I mean, obviously, you guys aren't going to do anything about it. So I guess we just wait.
You're going to see an increased number of illegal drugs coming in, particularly fentanyl, that will kill more and more Americans. You're going to see
Why? Don't go,
pressure on border communities where they...
Did you just wake him up to do this? Did he just take fentanyl? Has he been fondling some of it? He seems a little drowsy.
where the community collapses under the weight. It's just a matter of time that terrorists that are rising in Afghanistan and Syria will make their way through the border.
Yes. And we left $85 billion worth of canoes.
To attack
Is Candyman 5 times? Thank you. I thought it was always 3.
us. Their desire to attack us hasn't stopped.
Yeah, they're just a little busy right now fighting amongst themselves and trying to kill Chinese tech executives.
Basically have a welcome mat at the border for
No, we don't. Again, if you're watching this from another country or if you saw this on Fox News, there's not a welcome mat. There's a welcome mat at like immigration facilities where you can file for citizenship or a visa and shit like that. But no, if you'll notice, there are no welcome mats actually here. The people are having to sleep under flatbeds and try to sneak across. I have a welcome mat in front of my house. No one who ever crosses its threshold has to spend 6 weeks with their toddler in my fucking driveway.
for terrorists if they want to come into the country. And there's no corrective action. The asylum system is broken. The guideaways, for every guideaway.
The guideaways. That's an interesting... The guideaways. Guys. Just an interesting Freudian slip.
There are 3 or 4 people coming to say, here I am.
Yes.
Capture me. And that's the problem. If you get...
Yes. They walk across and go, catch me if you can. It's fabulous.
At 1 foot in America, you're likely never going to leave under our asylum program. They undid everything that Trump did. The Biden administration took all the border security measures of the Trump administration and changed them overnight. And
yeah, we turned the wall into a moat. And by the way, just for the record, the Trump wall, the construction of it required the building of access roads because you have to be able to drive on either side of it to put the posts and the foundations in the ground and insert the pieces of the wall and line them all up. So you can't just do it from one side. They don't just have like an Amish barn raising where they get it set and then they just click it into place like some piece of IKEA furniture. And now there are roads that the Trump administration made on either side of the wall that makes more of the border traversable than before. It is now accessible to vehicles and foot traffic in ways that it wasn't before because they fucking made roads. They had to build the wall. Here's an idea. After you're done building it, fuck up the roads. Put those, concrete barriers in it so they at least have to drive around them, slow them down a little bit.
if you do away with Title 42 authority, which will happen in a few weeks, it's throwing gasoline on a fire.
No, I think throwing gasoline on the people was actually his idea.
Wow. You said a welcome mat. The gotaways aren't interested in being welcomed. In fact...
No, they want to feel unwelcome. They're naughty. They're crossing the border and they're all naughty. You should see what they're wearing. They're like dressed like Balenciaga teddy bears. It's fucking delicious.
They seem to, and having been down there, just a...
Who are they? We don't know. I mean, what are they wearing? And honestly, are they sweaty? Are they covered in oil? How did it happen? I just want to see, do any of them have any tattoos that do like a little cartoon when they flex their pecs? inquiring minds want to know.
A few weeks ago, I was standing in one of the places that they come through. We just don't have enough people to catch them, even if we wanted to. So we see them coming in. Those are the ones who are willing to be caught on camera. You know, they figured some things out. They're wearing camouflage and coming mostly at night now. I mean, it's unreal.
By the way, she's watching people cross and they're like, we don't even have enough people to catch them. Meanwhile, they're rounding up dozens of people with just a couple of agents. And secondly, she's like, they're wearing camouflage and coming at night now. Where are they buying the fucking camouflage then? Where is that? What do they do with it when they're done? Once they get inside, do they mail it back to their relatives so they can wear it when they come across? The fuck are you talking about? I haven't seen it. We haven't seen that kind of numbers because you can't see them. They're hidden from us. They're like, I think they're like, there's a very dangerous problem of ninjas crossing the border because they move silently and don't leave footprints and they dress all in black.
Real. Yeah. I want to move to this. It's the.
Yeah, move on from this because obviously there's a much record-breaking 73,000 gotaways in November. Again, based on what?
Final sprint in the high-stakes Georgia Senate runoff. And more than 1 million.
That's what he's really there to talk about. He's got his button on. He's sitting on Herschel right now.
Voters there have all.
He's like, Herschel Walker's just literally down below the thing, and you can just see the arc of his back. We got to win this race. We got to make sure that we, because this people understand they're not going to be able to buy this. See, I'll take care of it, Herschel. Just sit there.
Already early voted in the runoff. New polling shows a squeaker of a race right now. Democrat Senator Raphael Warnock with a slight edge over football.
A slight 4% edge.
Icon Herschel Walker, 51 to 47% at this point.
By the way, is that polling? AARP, that's AARP voters. The most reliable voters there are.
Right. Warnock turning to his political party's heaviest hitters, Barack Obama, you see there.
Again, the real news story is, why the fuck can't Walker afford to campaign with Trump?
And with the Democrat in Atlanta last night, there are many more who are expected to come. And Obama took this jab at Herschel Walker.
I believe in my soul that...
That's not Obama, just for the record. I know Fox in general sometimes has difficulty telling black people apart. I would think Harris would be above that.
Georgia...
I think they just played the wrong clip. I'm fucking with
Georgia knows that Georgia is better than Herschel Walker. When again and again you serve up bald-faced lies, just make stuff up, that says something about the kind of person you are and the kind of leader you would be if you were in the United States Senate.
Yeah, this is unheard of language. I've never heard anyone say anything remotely like this in a political campaign that would question the judgment, ethics, or decision-making capability of a rival politician by suggesting that what they say and do may be meaningful to the job that they take. What the fuck? How's this supposed... Like, this is the most run-of-the-mill political speech you'll ever fucking hear. Play the clip about the werewolves.
Senator Graham, your reaction?
Well, that's almost a direct quote. I think I've said that like 9 times in 4 different campaigns. Shh, Herschel. But I want to tell him, be quiet.
Herschel Walker is going to win this race.
No, he's not.
Just got briefed by the campaign on their latest poll. You're going to have about 72% of the people that voted in the general election are going to vote in the runoff. There's going to be a 28% drop. So I like Herschel's chances. This race is tied.
It's not tied. Warnock has almost a 5% lead, and the people that are dropping off are the people who voted for Kemp and voted for Walker the first time who aren't going to show up a second time.
They spent $170 million trying to destroy Herschel Walker. And
yes, and, we need to get money out of politics. Shut up, Herschel. We need to get money out of... Wait, what the fuck am I saying?
The race is tied, and I think the wind is at Herschel's back.
No, he's breaking wind, and you might enjoy it, but the rest of us are disgusted.
Warnock has been with Biden 96% of the time.
Jesus Christ, he's been there a year.
If you're looking for a new senator from Georgia to act differently in Washington, then you better elect Walker, not Warnock. Now,
yeah, that again, is he expecting a difficulty when Republicans show up and go, how do I remember it? Let's see. Walker, Texas Ranger. Yes, Walker, Texas Ranger. No, Warnock, the Warlock. Okay, that's how I'm going to remember it. Okay, so who was I for? The Warlock sounds tough. I'm going to vote for the Warlock. Fuck!
96% of the time he's been with Biden. He has surrendered our border, Biden has, and
It's Georgia, dumbass.
Warnock's done nothing to take it back. He's voted for every high tax bill there is.
Yes, especially the one that guarantees a 15% tax on multi-billion-dollar companies. Yeah, and that would be it. That would be all of it.
The amount of money coming against Herschel Walker is the most in the history of the United States Senate.
It's a lot.
They're trying to destroy him. Go to Team Herschel.
Go to Team Herschel. Go to Herschel Team. Go to Double Team Herschel. Go to Double D Battery.
Herschel.com. And if the millions of people watching would give a few bucks, we could close that gap.
No, you couldn't. She doesn't have those kind of viewers, and they're not going to donate to fucking Herschel Walker. They're not going to show up to vote, and her show's not just like, you're not on local Georgia television, asshole.
We're in 72-hour mode right here, trying to turn out the voter. They're spending 17 million in super PACs, 17 million more in ground game. Help us, teamherschel.com.
Help us, please help us. Because this is the only way because he's going to be transformative.
Here's the bottom line.
Okay, please. Yeah, get to the bottom line, because
we're 3 days away, and Herschel is still tied, and I think he's going to win.
That's
no, he's not. He's down by almost 5 points, and that's just the AARP one. The youth are not going to show up for fucking Walker. Kemp voters are going to sit this one out. Maggots aren't even didn't even vote last time. It's part of what chipped it off. The vote for Kemp was a fuck you vote to Trump. Same with DeSantis.
That's what I was going to ask. I mean, that's a lot of resource. That's a lot of man and women power.
Yes,
that's a lot going on the left side of the aisle.
Yes,
and they still.
Yes, I don't know where they got all this money, commies. You ever notice how suddenly the accusations of communism all dry up when they complain about how much money's being spent?
Are within a statistical tie.
A statistical tie? No, they're not. And by the way, if his internal polls, which are his kiss-ass polls because Trump hooked him up with his people, are a statistical tie, he's even worse off than I thought.
Mentioned being on the ground, and I know we've seen you.
We've seen you on the ground a couple of times, face down.
You've been with Herschel Walker.
My. No wonder he's defending him so vociferously. It's love.
I don't know if you...
Yeah, I have been. I wish. I mean...
Saw
About
some
move to Georgia.
Well, that and testifying.
Right? It's a beautiful state. I was born there. The bitter race...
Yeah. Anyways.
Now is focusing on character. And that same survey...
Yes. Yes. Tell us about the character of Herschel, Russian roulette, domestic violence, multiple abortions, but women shouldn't have the right to choose, Walker, and Reverend Warnock.
Shows what voters over 50 really care about: inflation and looming threats to democracy.
Yeah. Threats to democracy, that's a Democratic vote. And the economic issues doesn't mean everybody agrees that because there's a problem, they agree with what you think the solution is to the problem. We could all agree about high prices and differ greatly on how you fucking solve it. And when you have the Republican Party, which is like, bitch, don't solve it, just complain. No, I wouldn't say like bitch to her. I mean like bitch about things. Don't solve it because it's a complaint point. And then mix that, compare that to, well, we got to have an Inflation Reduction Act. We got to do some investment. And again, Dalton, Georgia, biggest solar panel manufacturing facility in the Western Hemisphere. Thanks, Joe.
Walker has a major edge in that older demographic. And
How? The fuck are you talking about? Old people like football, playing it as much as watching it.
I want to get to this. There's
Also, by the way, really? So you're going to bet on older white Republican voters being more apt to get off their ass and go vote for Herschel Walker than, say, they, with Brian Kemp's sitting there and voting, against the black lady not being on the ballot. You think they're really gonna get out of their seat to choose between two black people? Those Republicans? You're fucking kidding me, right?
some inequality in the press.
Oh, thanks to Show Live. Sparklers support Hal by giving just one subscription, $5.99 price of some coffee without the knowledge. That's true. It's a great way to do it. And thank you guys for doing that. And by the way, Becky, thank you for the super chat. Scott, thank you for that. 1 million dead nations mourning, still in denial. Grief turns to rage, harnessing the emotions of the majority. Trump will run a platform of on a platform of war. Agreed. 94 EJack, thank you so much. Thank you guys. That's really sweet.
Press coverage. A recent analysis by a conservative media watchdog found Broadcast Network gave Herschel Walker 88% negative coverage compared.
Okay. Trump bitched about this stuff too. Herschel Walker has had is running on a women need to be punished for abortion ticket, and then the news has been coming out that he's had multiple abortions that he paid for and that he talked the women he was dating into while he had multiple kids with multiple moms. And one of the kids came out against him as a fucking liar when he found out he had a brother he had never met that his dad knew about. Of course he's going to have more negative press. And by the way, I wouldn't even call that negative press. That's just press. They didn't go, oh, the shame, the ignominy. How terrible. Right? Nobody was even more. They were probably giving him more positive coverage by not reacting that way. By looking at this news as it came out and going, well, it's going to be difficult for the campaign, instead of like, this motherfucker.
With 71% positive coverage for Warnock. Are you seeing some of that when you kind of take temporary residency there trying to help him out, Senator?
And have you picked up any of that negative coverage?
Number one, you can't turn on the television without seeing 5 ads for Warnock to one of Herschel. And the bottom...
Well, I guess if money is speech, then the people have spoken. Right, asshole?
line, they're trying to destroy Herschel Walker as a person because he's an African-American conservative.
Wait a minute. Okay, first of all, if both candidates are African-American in this race. So if they're not voting for him, it's not because he's black and conservative. It's because whatever you think means conservative is not winning. It's not a winning message. So it's your fucking fault.
He won the Heisman Trophy. He played professional football. He was on the Olympic
So fucking what?
bobsled team.
And can we just like germinate for a moment? Just think, harken back to the days of shut up and sing. And then know that the top 3 reasons why this fuckhead thinks that Herschel Walker should be able to gibberish his way through the U.S. Senate is because he was on the fucking bobsled team.
He's created thousands of jobs in Georgia. He's an entrepreneur, and he danced for the New York Ballet. I've never met anybody quite like Herschel Walker.
How is it that supposedly the creating of jobs, whatever the fuck those jobs are, I don't even know. There's no way the dude's businesses employ thousands of people. All right, let's see. Hold on. What I want to see the claim about this. I gotta, because I wouldn't fucking know. Okay, so Herschel Walker created jobs. Just somebody will have a quote from what? The Heisman Trophy winner now employs more than... Here you go. Okay. Business leaders. This is April 26th, 2018. This Heisman Trophy winner now employs more than 800 people. When you think of Herschel Walker, Georgia Bulldogs, Heisman Trophy winner, and NFL running back usually come to mind, but more than 800 people in the South, they know just him as their boss. Since retiring from the NFL more than 20 years ago, he's built 3 massive companies, which includes a chicken plant, a drapery business, and a promotions company that currently employs more than 800 people in the South. I've been in the chicken business for about 20 years. I'm the largest minority-owned chicken business in the United States. I'm essentially a mini Tyson Foods, he told Fox Business. Walker launched his first business, Renaissance Man Foods, in 1999. Shortly after his retirement from the Dallas Cowboys, he wanted to make good quality food for his strict diet. Now we have over 600 employees. We do chicken all over the United States into Canada. We won a lot of wars, too. We won a lot of wars, too. Okay, so he's always been talking like a fucking lunatic. Those wars he adds were mostly with the country's largest producer, chicken, Tyson Foods. Wars against Tyson. Tyson manufactured for me for about 5 years until we started to sting. What I mean is that we started to compete for the same customer, and I had to make a decision: do I go out of business or I do invest in my plants? Oh, so he signed a deal with Tyson. Tyson employs those people. If you close your business, you're going to lose some jobs for some people. At that moment, Walker said he decided to change his views on business and no longer wanted to focus on money. My thing, as long as the company pays for itself, like paid the rent and paid all the bills, I don't have to put my money in. That'll be okay. 5 years later, Georgia Bulldog star bought a drapery company that supplies curtains for hotels across the country. My mom was a seamstress, and I bought the company. They only had 25 women. Today, we got 150. Herschel Walker Enterprises started his own promotions company in Atlanta, Georgia, that works with Fortune 500 companies for promotional goods, which is like him showing up. What's more, the 2-time Pro Bowler still serves as the chief executive for all 3 companies. My companies are doing good stuff, and I'm happy because they give a lot of people opportunity. And it's like when former football guys have car dealerships. Same shit. 800, making thousands of jobs. Again, that's the rolling dollar argument that Ms. Lindsey is making, and they always push back against Democrats for doing that. So, no, point me.
If he becomes the Republican senator from Georgia, he's going to inspire people of color all over the country to come.
Why? What kind of people of color will be inspired by this? I mean, honest to God, if you're a self-respecting person and someone else is using a person of your ilk to try and lure you into their party, and they pick something like even Trump. That's like saying Trump inspires white people to run for office. Yeah, against him.
To the Republican conservative cause. That's why they're trying to destroy him. You know why they're doing all this?
Because he wants to take away a woman's right to choose, and he's fucking dumb.
They know they're losing ground to Herschel.
No, they don't. They want women to have the right to choose. They want to be able to, like, it's all conservatism. It's very little do it. Quite frankly, if Herschel Walker was running for any other office, as a congressperson or something like that, he might win, because who gives a shit if he wasn't touting women need to go to jail for abortions when he just had a bunch?
Herschel can win this race. Let's close the gap. Go to Team Herschel.
No, he's not going to. No, I can't lose. I'm sorry. If you he's going to lose.
Want people
no, I don't
on the conservative side to look more like America, when people like Herschel comes along, we need to help them. Please go to teamherschel.com.
What do you mean when people like Herschel come along? Other Heisman Trophy winners with arguably CTE? Here's the thing. Anybody who has played Russian roulette with their friends, I'm not voting for them. How about that? When people like that come along, I don't care what race, religion, national origin they have. You're going to lose my vote. Sorry. Especially if you brag about it.
$5 or $10 goes a long way.
Not as long as it used to. But, not in terms of advertising, because you had to buy it a while back to buy the slot. Never mind.
The reason they're trying to go down the character road is
because he doesn't have any, and because he's It's the easiest hit on him because he's literally campaigning against a woman's right to choose while paying for and cajoling multiple women into having abortions and having a bunch of random kids after arguing that, like that black men should, aren't good fathers or need to spend more time with their kids' lives, like he was just channeling Cosby all of a sudden.
Policy road doesn't work. Georgia has a 59% disapproval rating of Joe Biden. The Warnock campaign asked Joe Biden to help. You know where he went? They want him to go to Massachusetts to help Warnock in Georgia. I want him to come to Georgia to help Warnock. Walker wants Biden in Georgia. Warnock wants him in Massachusetts. Warnock is the third senator from Massachusetts.
Did you guys follow that? Yeah, he lost me too.
You can't even make that up. In fact, when
he did just make that up. Nobody knows what the fuck you're talking about.
the president was wrapping up his signing just moments ago to thwart the rail strike, people were shouting questions.
To thwart the rail strike. That's what he was doing. He wasn't helping to reach a deal. He was he was attacking the workers.
From the media, and he decided to answer one of them. Are you going to Georgia to help Herschel Walker? And did you hear what he said? Well, yeah. And then he said, well, no, I'm going to Massachusetts to help Herschel Walker. And I thought, but Herschel Walker's in Georgia. Who wants to tell him? But he knows.
Fundraiser.
And you just said why?
No, because he's raising money.
Well, because he's aligned with the voting records of Massachusetts, not Georgia.
I see. And Georgia and Massachusetts are at war with each other.
The bottom line here is the reason they're sending Biden to Massachusetts, that's where all the liberals' money's at.
Right. And Obama's actually doing the on-the-ground stuff there.
We're being outspent 3-1. Team Herschel.
Right. So the strategy is working. Fucking hell.
But I find it odd that the leader of the Democratic Party is being asked to go to Massachusetts to win a race in Georgia because...
But you just said that's exactly where the money is.
If Biden came to Georgia, it'd be pretty obvious to people in Georgia that they don't want Biden here.
What's the policy difference between him and Obama in that regard? What's the big thing that Biden's supposedly doing that somehow it's cool if Obama's there, but Biden isn't? He was his fucking vice president. They agree on everything. They're in the same party. That's how it works. Jesus Christ.
Because they don't like what he's doing as president.
Nope.
And Warnock has been...
By the way, those are the same polls that told them there was going to be a red wave.
With Biden 96% of the time. That's why he's in Massachusetts, not Georgia.
No. He's in Massachusetts raising money. Other surrogates are going to Georgia.
And I misspoke. Of course, he's going to help Warnock from Massachusetts some kind of way.
From Massachusetts.
I know. It's also a beautiful...
Right. Notice she changed his words to make him sound dumb and then had to fix it after the statement was after he made his statement.
State. It just doesn't actually have the Georgia Senate runoff going on in Massachusetts.
No, because he's going to a fundraiser to help raise money.
The president wanting to help Warnock from a distance. A lot of Democrats felt that way during the midterms. Help them.
And then others wanted him there, like Fetterman.
From a distance. Senator Graham.
Fetterman, Biden didn't just make his statement. We didn't make multiple campaign stops with Fetterman. He also made his big speech, the big red speech that everybody flipped out about, that pinned Trump to the Republican Party in Pennsylvania.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you being in focus.
Thanks so much.
He's in focus. That's what he really looks like. Disappointing. By the way, you're watching House Sparks Mega Worldwide, and I went late tonight. I got radio in the morning.
The U.S. Embassy in China calling
shut
on
up.
U.S. citizens there to keep.
Good Lord. This is an autofill clip that just came up. It was 3 days ago. I'm not going to cover it. It's Maria Bartiromo pops up on my fucking screen. This is terrifying. Who needs that? Anyways, I got radio in the morning. Philip Ittner will be joining us from Kiev tomorrow in the second hour of the show. And I'm hoping, keep your fingers crossed, I might have Mike Pillow on the show next week. No commitments. I might have to pre-tape it. It might not be live, though. I don't know how that's going to work out. Somebody gave me his phone number. He hasn't answered yet, but he's goddamn well gonna. I just hope he says yes before he watches any of my clips about him. Because the interesting thing is I think people have done due diligence on his behalf better than they do on Trump's. Like, honest to God, if you tried to sit down, if Kanye wanted to sit down with Mike Pillow, first of all, he'd have said no. But if he said yes and he showed up with those other people, Mike Pillow's people like Brandon House would go, we got to get out of here. You can't do that. They'll fuck with you. They're trying to attack you. This is a mistake. And he would get up and leave. I got to go do something. And he would fuck off, unlike Trump. Anyways, I adore you guys. Yes, I'll believe it when I see it too. But I'm gonna try. Pritzker mentioned Biden a lot of his campaign. So did Shapiro. A lot of the winners did. This is just like sour grapes about the red wave that never happened. Anyways, I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for sticking around extra long tonight. It was lovely. Remember, take care of yourself and take care of somebody else. And thank you guys for the support. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for subscribing. We're at 991. We might be able to get to 1,000, back over 1,000 tomorrow, maybe during the radio show. Remind me to bug people because I'm trying to get better at it and I'm just terrible. And we'd love to have the Major on this morning. We'll have him on again, no doubt. I told him so after the show. It was a great time. Thank you guys so much. And I love you guys. And I will see you in the morning for the radio show. Bye.